At 6 o'clock in the morning, Annie's gentle alarm sounds in her cozy bedroom. Before she sits up, she closes her eyes and takes 3 slow, deep breaths. With each inhale, she feels fresh energy fill her lungs, and with each exhale, she lets go of tiredness. As she breathes, she thinks quietly, "Today is a new day," and a calm excitement warms her heart. This simple act of breathing and gratitude brings peace to her mind and prepares her for the day ahead. She reaches over to her nightstand and opens a small journal. The pages feel smooth beneath her fingertips as she uncaps her pen and writes one clear sentence. "I will learn 3 new English words today." Seeing her own handwriting reminds her of her promise. She smiles, closes the journal, and feels a gentle sense of purpose guiding her morning. Annie moves to the window and pushes it open. The pale light of dawn spills into the room, and a cool breeze brushes her arms. She stretches upward, feeling the stretch along her sides, then rolls her shoulders slowly to release tension. She bends down to touch her toes, holding the stretch for a few steady breaths. As she straightens, she does 2 gentle neck rolls, then circles her wrists and ankles. In each movement, she practices the word mindful, saying it softly to herself. Mindful. This simple stretching routine helps her body wake up and clears her mind for learning. Next, Annie heads to the kitchen. She fills the kettle and turns it on, listening to the water as it begins to bubble. While she waits, she inhales the fresh scent of the cool morning air drifting through the window. She watches steam rise in thin white ribbons and says the word sip in her mind, imagining the warm drink. When the kettle clicks, she pours hot water into her favorite mug and places a tea bag inside. After a few minutes, she carefully lifts the cup, clasps it with both hands, and brings it to her lips. She tastes the warmth and whispers the word gratitude as she savors each gentle sip. It is time to pack lunch boxes for her children, Ethan and Lily. Annie places 2 simple containers on the counter. She makes a turkey sandwich and adds fresh carrots and grapes for Ethan. For Lily, she packs yogurt, berries, and a small cheese stick. Before closing the lids, she writes a friendly note for each box. "Have a happy day" on Ethan's and "keep shining" on Lily's. She also writes the word of the day, which is start, on a small card and slips it between the layers of food. Packing meals with a kind message and a new word helps the children learn and feel loved. At 6:30, Annie walks upstairs to wake Ethan and Lily. She opens Ethan's door and gently says, "Good morning, Ethan." He blinks and stretches before sitting up. She tucks his blanket, gives him a quick hug, and asks him to say the word start. He repeats it with a sleepy smile. Next, she enters Lily's room and whispers, "Good morning, my little star." Lily yawns, then giggles when Annie says start. They both repeat the word together, and the sound of their laughter fills the quiet hallway. By 7 o'clock, the family gathers at the breakfast table. Annie places plates of scrambled eggs, toast, and fresh fruit in front of them. As they eat, she asks Ethan to use the word mindful in a sentence. He thinks for a moment and says, "I am mindful when I listen to birds." Annie nods and turns to Lily, asking, "Can you say Gratitude? Lily pauses, then chants, gratitude. They all share a gentle laugh and feel a warm connection through simple language practice. At 7:30, Tom arrives with the car keys. He kisses Ethan on the forehead and says, "Enjoy your day." Annie holds Lily's hand as they walk to the nearby daycare center. Along the way, she points at a brightly painted sign and practices the word center. Lily repeats, center. When they reach the blue building, Annie hugs her daughter and waves goodbye. As she steps back onto the sidewalk, she takes one more steady breath, listens to the distant chirping of birds, and repeats to herself, "Today is a new day." Annie's simple morning routine, breathing, writing, stretching, sipping tea, packing lunch, and learning new words, fills her with calm confidence. She has practiced 4 key words: gratitude, sip, mindful, and start. Now, she is ready to step out the door and begin the next part of her day. You can try this routine too. Breathe deeply and say, "Today is a new day," 5 times. Write a short goal in a journal, stretch your body with simple movements, savor a warm drink, pack a kind note with a new word, and greet someone with a hug and a word of the day. Finally, challenge yourself to describe your own morning in one clear sentence. With these small steps, you can bring English learning into every fresh start. Annie steps into the clothing store just before 9 in the morning. She smiles and greets her coworker. "Good morning, Sarah." Across the room, she notices the new English learning board in the break area. Today's phrase is, "Can I help you?" Annie reads it aloud once and tucks it into her pocket for later. As the doors open, the first customer walks in. Annie approaches with a friendly tone and asks, "Can I help you find something?" The shopper nods and explains she needs a summer dress. Annie suggests a light cotton dress in soft blue. She holds it up and points out its cool fabric. When the customer tries it on and returns with a happy smile, Annie feels proud. She practices the phrase she recorded on her phone every hour. "This color looks great on you." After helping the customer, Annie turns to restock the jeans section. She arranges pairs by shade, going from light blue to dark indigo. She times herself to make the task a fun challenge. She says, "I will finish in 5 minutes," then folds and stacks each pair neatly. At the end, she checks the clock and smiles at her small win. She thinks quietly, "I completed my restock," and feels a spark of accomplishment. Around 11, Annie takes a quick stretch in the back room. She taps her flashcards and quizzes herself on 5 new words. Then, she swaps cards with her coworker, Sarah, and they test each other for 2 minutes. This simple game brings laughter and refreshes her mind. When she hears the store announcement, "Attention shoppers, a new sale starts tomorrow," she listens for the word sale and repeats it softly. At 1 o'clock, Annie sits down for lunch in the staff room. She eats a fresh salad and shares a fun fact with Sarah. Did you know the word salad comes from the Latin word salata, which means salted? Sarah smiles and asks questions, so Annie practices explaining again in simple English. Before leaving the room, Annie opens her journal and writes one sentence about her morning. I helped 3 customers and learned 2 new words. Writing this reflection gives her a moment of calm and energy before the afternoon shift. Back on the sales floor, Annie listens for new language opportunities. When a child asks for a toy dress, she answers, "This dress is soft and easy to wear." She feels happy each time a customer thanks her. She repeats the words suggestion and accomplishment in her head to keep them fresh. As the day moves toward evening, Annie glances at the clock and feels a warm anticipation. It is almost time to head home and see her family. She gathers her things, says goodbye to her team, and steps out of the store with a light heart. Each small task, greeting a customer, restocking jeans, playing a quick quiz, sharing a fun fact, has helped her learn and grow. With these little wins, Annie carries confidence and new English words into the rest of her day. Annie arrives at the daycare center just before 5 in the afternoon. She sees Lily running toward her with a bright smile. Lily wraps her arms around Annie and says, "Mom, I made a painting today." Annie lifts her daughter gently and praises her work in simple English. "That is a beautiful picture, Lily." They walk to the car together, and Annie asks, "What was the best part of your day?" Lily answers shyly but proudly, "I played with my friends." Annie listens and adds, "That sounds fun and kind." At the next stop, Annie picks up Ethan from his school. He jumps into the back seat and immediately shares his news. "Mom, I helped restock the shelf during my class project," he says. Annie smiles and replies, "Great job, Ethan. You used the word restock well." On the drive home, Annie starts a short English storytelling game. She says, "Once upon a time, a small bird built a nest." Ethan continues with, "The bird found soft feathers." Then Lily adds, "The bird sang a happy song." Their simple sentences build a little story, and the car fills with laughter. This game helps them practice new words like nest and feathers while enjoying each other's company. When they arrive home, the smell of dinner fills the air. Tonight, the family cooks together. Annie places bowls of chopped vegetables, strips of chicken, and cooked rice on the countertop. She writes the English names on sticky notes and sticks them to each bowl: vegetable, chicken, rice. Tom, Ja, E. And the children read the labels aloud. They chop and stir, saying words like stir and mix. Annie guides them with kind instructions. "Please stir the rice gently." The children repeat, "Stir gently." Cooking becomes a warm, teamwork activity. As the pan sizzles, they describe what they see. "The chicken is golden. The vegetables look bright." These simple English sentences help them learn while preparing a healthy meal. After dinner, the family moves to the living room. They play a board game that uses English prompts. Annie picks a card and reads, "Describe this animal." The children guess and practice words like elephant and long. Then Tom chooses a card that says, "Name 5 colors." Lily lists red, blue, green, yellow, purple. Ethan names brown, orange, white, pink, black. They all cheer each other on. This fun game adds laughter and helps them remember vocabulary in a relaxed way. Soon, Annie brings out a short storybook. They sit close on the couch and read one chapter about a friendly cat. Annie reads slowly, pausing at new words. The children listen and repeat words like soft whiskers and purr. After each page, Annie asks a simple question. What did the cat do? The children answer. The cat purred. The cat slept. Through reading together, they build confidence in listening and speaking English. The soft light of the lamp creates a calm, cozy atmosphere. At 8 o'clock, Annie and Tom guide the children through their bedtime routine. They help Ethan and Lily brush their teeth and put on pajamas. As they tuck the children into bed, they share one favorite memory of the day in English. Ethan says, I liked playing the storytelling game. Lily says, I liked cooking with labels. Annie and Tom smile and repeat their children's sentences softly. You both practiced English so well. With gentle hugs and goodnight kisses, the children close their eyes and drift to sleep. Once the children are resting, Annie sits at her small desk. She opens her journal and writes 3 things she is grateful for in English. She writes, I am grateful for laughter, for learning, and for family. As she writes each sentence, she feels a warm thankfulness in her heart. Next, she reviews the new words she learned today: nest, feathers, stir, mix, whiskers, purr. She listens to a 2-minute English audio clip on her phone. To challenge herself, she plays it at 1.25 speed. She leans back and focuses on understanding each word and phrase. After listening, she records herself saying one inspiring sentence. Every small moment with my family helps me grow. Hearing her own voice gives her confidence in speaking English. At 10 o'clock, Annie closes her journal, turns off the lamp, and takes one last deep breath. She smiles and thinks about how simple routines can bring joy and learning. She believes that every calm moment, every shared meal, and every bedtime story helps her family connect and grow together. Before drifting to sleep, she remembers her own tip for English learners. Write a short story of your daily routine, use 3 new words, and share it with someone. With this hopeful thought, Annie lets go of the day and welcomes peaceful rest, ready for another meaningful routine tomorrow. Annie's story shows how simple habits can bring calm, connection, and growth to every day. From her quiet breathing and grateful thoughts in the morning to her mindful stretches by the window, Annie begins each day with intention. She packs lunchboxes with kind notes and a word of the day, then gently wakes Ethan and Lily with hugs and simple English words. At work, she greets customers with, Can I help you? Restocks shelves as a timed challenge, and plays quick flashcard quizzes with her coworker. During lunch, she shares a fun language fact and writes a brief reflection. I helped 3 customers and learned 2 new words. In the evening, family time becomes an English lesson. The children label ingredients, play word charades, and read a short story chapter. Before bed, Annie and Tom tuck the kids in, share favorite moments in English, and Annie writes 3 things she's grateful for: laughter, learning, and family. She listens to a podcast clip at higher speed and records an inspiring sentence. Every small moment with my family helps me grow. Finally, Annie closes her journal and rests. knowing that each small action has helped her and her children learn and connect. The deep lesson from Annie's routine is that learning does not need to be a separate task. It can live inside everyday moments. By weaving simple English practice into breathing exercises, cooking, working, and play, Annie turns her entire life into a classroom. You can apply this in your own life by choosing one small activity, like writing a daily goal, labeling objects, or sharing a sentence at dinner, and practicing English with gentle consistency. Over time, these tiny steps add up to real progress and a richer, more mindful life. Congratulations on listening and understanding the whole story. Here is a quick question for you. What did Annie do first in her morning routine? A. Write in her journal. B. Stretch by the window. Please comment your answer with A or B below. If you enjoyed this lesson and want more free English learning stories, please subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. Creating high-quality content takes time and resources. We offer these lessons for free to help you learn English, but we rely on your support. If you would like to help cover our costs and encourage us to continue, please consider donating. Every contribution, no matter how small, makes a big difference. Thank you for being part of our learning community.